They won the majority of their regular season games by keeping it at 15 or fewer. The same can be said for this postseason. Most of Boston's finals wins have come with 15 turnovers or less. All right, Stephen A., do you think the Celtics have a point guard problem?
Yes, I do. And I don't mean it in the literal sense. I'm not trying to throw any shade whatsoever on Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. He's a guy that got into their faces and told them about the need to be accountable, to trust in one another, whatever. I got a lot of love and respect for Marcus Smart. I'm talking about a quintessential floor general. I want to put it in this proper perspective. Jay Williams, if you were playing for the Boston Celtics, I would say doesn't work. And you know how I feel about you as a player. My point is I'm talking about a floor general. Somebody that sits up there. I'm not talking about somebody looking to score. I'm not talking about somebody like Steph who can shoot. I'm not talking about and open the floodgates because you got to pick them up from half court and it extends the defense and opens up a whole bunch of lanes and opportunities for other dudes around him. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a floor general with the ball in his hands, running plays, dictating pace, knowing and understanding the responsibility of every single person on the court with him and holding them accountable. You ain't getting the ball here. You make a shot from here, Jay. You ain't shot from here, JT. You make a shot from here, Jalen. You ain't going to the lane and trying to run through 2-3 people looking for a foul. You're not doing that. Here's where you are. This is your spot. We going to get you the ball here. I want you down low. Al Horford, I want you picking and popping. I want you pulling up right here. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a floor general, a Chris Paul type guy. I'm not talking about on his level. I'm just talking about mentality. I'm saying the things that we have lamented about Boston in this series in terms of their ball handling, dribbling too much, lack of spacing, not passing the ball enough, looking for fouls instead of going out, just focusing on trying to make your shot and just playing. All of those things are things quintessential point guards handle for the team. They said it. Rondo, for example. Rondo is out there. Let's use not Chris Paul. Let's use Rajon Rondo. If Rondo is on the Boston Celtics right now, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown looks better because that's what he does. Marcus Smart just has the ball. He can handle. He can shoot. He's a big-time player. He's an elite defensive player. But being a floor general is not his specialty. Neither is that of Derek White. They don't have that. That's part of their problem.
So quintessential to me is more like an old school terminology for like the perfect example, like a CP3. I don't think there are a lot of guards in the league like that anymore. So the quintessential point guard for Golden State, Steph Curry isn't quintessential. Right? Draymond Green is a guy that is smart, has a high basketball IQ, but you like the way they play because the entire team has a high basketball IQ. It's more their system. I look at Kobe Bryant's world championship teams. They didn't have a quintessential point guard, but they had a system. Right? They had a system that dictated when they got into certain things. And that's where I would push back slightly in your argument. Has Marcus Smart been perfect in these NBA finals? No, he hasn't been good.
I think he's had a good finals.
Yeah, but in the finals, he's had 21 assists, 16 turnovers. It's not a good ratio. Regular season, 2-to-1 assist-turnover ratio. That's what you want from him, right? But also, I'm not going to make any excuses up here for Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has to be better with the decision-making he's had, right? So I hear what you're saying about having somebody that can say, no, you need to get your tail down the block, and this is where you operate at an optimal level. But I don't think that's a quintessential point guard. I think it's more of the system in which they play.
I think you're thinking about me talking about the Boston Celtics overall. I'm only talking about the Boston Celtics in this series. If you're talking about the Boston Celtics all year long, you're talking about the Boston Celtics that win against Miami. You're talking about the Boston Celtics that win against the Milwaukee Bucks or Brooklyn before that. That's not the discussion.
Okay.
I got you. I'm with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
You're saying
my
in
point
these
is for
NBA
this
finals,
series, these NBA finals, the problems that we're pointing out, you don't have if you got the quintessential point guard. If you're the Boston Celtics, if Rajon Rondo was on the Boston Celtics right now, you don't have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown making the inordinate amount of mistakes that they've made, the way that they have made them. You might make different mistakes. You might lose differently, but it ain't going to be like that.
How about this? Let's refine.
Oh, sure.
Because I think quintessential in your mind means point guard, which the way I used to think about basketball does. But I think in a new age, you're talking about the quintessential leader of a team, right? Because my thing is, let me ask you this. You ready?
Okay.
Who is the leader for the Boston Celtics, Stephen A?
Marcus Smart.
All right. Well, is he?
I believe he is.
Because I
believe he is.
Leader, like emotional leader.
The guy that held them accountable. I mean, he's the one that brought them together, man.
I would question,
right?
So for me, leadership is not only the emotional side, it's the person that can also think through, has a very high basketball IQ, can think through and challenge. I don't know if they have one. I don't know if they have somebody, like Draymond Green sees multiple positions. He may make some mistakes here and there. You ever sit and listen to his podcast? Yes. You ever hear him in the locker room? He's like, yo, this set that we ran, we need to flip that. We need to run it this way. He's the one doing all that. Yeah. I don't know who's doing that on the Boston Celtics team. And I don't think that just equates to a point guard anymore.
But again, I'm watching this series unfold. And I'm looking at the specific style of mistakes that the Jaylen Brown and the Jason Tatums have made. And I'm saying a point guard running your offense alleviates that. How many times have we seen ultimately Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown looking to create a mismatch more towards Tatum than Brown? Brown will just go at you. You don't give a damn who you are, especially if you Draymond Green. He's going right at you. But Jason Tatum is looking for a mismatch to be created. Come here and set this pick so I can be in this matchup against a Steph or against somebody else. The point that I'm making to you is that your point guard alleviates that with talent around them like that. They're saying that ain't your strength. But Golden State has a system that Steve Kerr has implemented, that they run to perfection. They know how to feed off one another. You look at Boston, Udoka has done a phenomenal job, a lot of credit. But Tatum and Brown, in terms of dribbling the ball too much, looking for calls, not necessarily hitting their spots, trying to go through defenders, you're not doing that with a point guard. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.